It says age 14 and up for some reason. So if you're 13 years old, you can't have this, man. It's gonna kill you. Hey guys, what's up? It's the Culture Detective here, investigating your favorite movies, and I just finished doing my worst movies of the 2016 year list, and now I'm gonna do the best movies of 2016 list. Let's go. Okay, so there aren't that many honorable mentions, and I'm not gonna talk about them too much because I didn't really watch that many movies in 2016, but it's Green Room, 10 Cloverfield Lane, and Kubo and the Two Strings. They are pretty good movies. They're not great, but they're decent. But at number 15, I'm gonna give it to Rogue One, a Star Wars story. It is a Star Wars story, yeah, and it takes place between episodes 3 and 4. Yeah, so if you have no idea what I'm talking about, you'll probably not understand whatever I'm going to talk about in the next minute. So basically, these characters, they have to destroy Death Star, and then after that happens, episode 4, aka Star Wars A New Hope, happens, and this is actually a pretty damn good Star Wars movie with a lot of amazing, intense action sequences, a lot of gritty action, production, and Felicity Jones is in this movie, and she's actually pretty good, so check this out. Also, Donnie Yen is in this movie. Shout out to my Hong Kong brothers. Up next, it's Silence at number 14, and Martin Scorsese is not in his wheelhouse in this one, but he still managed to pull off a pretty powerful and emotional movie about faith. And here we have Silence. Some really emotionally potent performances from Liam Neeson and Andrew Garfield. And at number 13, it's another Disney animated feature. It's Moana, which I don't think is amazing, but I think it's pretty damn good actually, because it's not boring, not at all. It's actually quite interesting. The music in the movie is actually pretty pleasant to the ears. I'm not saying that they're great, but they're pretty pleasant, and it actually tells a pretty memorable and heartfelt movie, and it's also pretty memeable, so I'm putting it at number 13. And at number 12, a movie that I find kind of underrated, it's Hell or High Water, and it is a very gritty, down to the mud movie about two brothers who rob people who are criminals. It's a really gritty movie with a lot of violence, and if you look deeper into it, it's actually kind of depressing and sad. And the performances, they are amazing, and I think the production overall in the movie is just so dusty, just so gritty and kind of empty. It's a pretty unique and memorable movie. And at number 11, yeah, one of the unexpectedly enjoyable movies from the MCU. It's Doctor Strange. Before going into the movie, I didn't really expect that much, but when I was watching the movie, I was hooked from beginning to end. The movie has no BS. Right from the get-go, this thing happens, and Doctor Strange gains his magical powers in Nepal with the Ancient One, played by Tilda Swinton, and all these crazy things happened, and it was trippy, it was entertaining, it was fun, it was colorful, and every time they jump from location to location through portals and these shifting, changing environment, it's really entertaining. It's a really fun movie. The CGI is on point. The story is actually interesting. Benedict Cumberbatch is way better than I have expected, and there are funny moments in the movie which are pretty funny. So there you go. Anyway, let's get to the top 10. At number 10, I'm gonna give it to Robert Eggers' The Witch, which is a movie that I've just reviewed yesterday. And it is a really somber, dark, and twisted tale about a family being banned to the wilderness and being attacked, more like terrorized, by witches. And it's a really unique movie. It's a really unique experience because it's set in the 1630s and everyone speaks with a heavy Northern English accent. They speak in thee, thou, thy, wouldst. There are scenes in the movie that are really intense and really disturbing and creepy. They give me goosebumps. And the ending is really thought-provoking. Like, I think about it a lot. Yeah, if there's one downside to the movie is that it's a slow burn. So if you're not into artsy horror movies, you don't have to watch this one. At number 9, this one is a way more simple and straightforward movie. It's Deepwater Horizon. It is a disaster movie. It is epic. It is intense. It is also incredibly entertaining and very straightforward. Just straight at your face disaster epic. And Mark Wahlberg is in this movie, and he's pretty amazing. At number 8, surprisingly, I'm gonna give it to The Nice Guys, featuring Ryan Gosling, yes, and Russell Crowe. And together they actually have a lot of chemistry on screen. It is a comedy, it's gritty, it's dirty, but it's really, really, really funny. And it's actually a pretty entertaining and interesting buddy cop-ish movie that will really hook you in. Sorry, I have to turn on the air conditioning. It's so hot. Anyway, at number 6, I'm gonna give it to... Oh wait, it's number 7. I'm sorry. At number 7, it's Manchester by the Sea. And yes, if you watch the trailer, it's a really Oscar baity kind of movie, but after I've watched it, it's kind of sinking in. You know, it's not the kind of movie that goes, blow, this is a crazy movie. This movie, it's a slow burn. It is a very humane movie about a dad who has lost someone, not gonna spoil anything, and a dad who's trying to reconnect with his nephew. And it's a really, really humane movie. And so realistic as well. There are scenes in here that are really sad, really tragic. But it's not epically sad and tragic. Rather, they are humanely sad. They are realistically sad. And it's just a really beautiful movie about how a human being just moves along from the past and how he keeps on living, keeps on pushing himself. It's a movie about life. The performances are uncharacteristically amazing. Casey Affleck is so amazing in that police station scene. Both Michelle Williams and Lucas Hedges are fantastic in this movie, and honestly, I just really love the ultra realistic style of the movie. It's a slow burn, yes, but also a very memorable one. And at number 6, I'm gonna give it to Denis Villeneuve, Arrival. This is a very interesting movie. It's about aliens, but it takes on aliens in a way different fashion. Instead of aliens invading Earth, very scary. It's more like a bunch of scientists and linguists. They found these aliens, and at first people are scared, but Amy Adams' character finds the human side of these aliens. And it's another movie that reflects humanity itself in a very smart way, and I really like it. And it's also a really cerebral, a really cognitive and thought-provoking movie with a really deep and profound message about communication, about time, about memories, and overall it's a really great experience. The production of the movie is also fantastic. I don't know how did they create all these aliens the sounds they make, the production design, the visual effects, the sound effects, they're all really amazing. At number 5, I'm giving it to Hacksaw Ridge by Mel Gibson. And it is actually a really amazing war movie with a stunning performance by Andrew Garfield about how a man who was not great at being a soldier, at being a fighter, but still trying his very best to serve the country and to help everyone around him. Again, great production, great sound effects, great sound mixing. The acting is great. There's not much to complain about. And the story is actually really inspiring and motivating, because even though you are not as respected in the beginning, even though you are not as capable of being a strong, powerful person, but if you use what you have, if you try your very best to help the people around you, there's always a hero in you. And this is a pretty inspiring and powerful message in the movie. Anyway, at number 4, even more inspiring and powerful, it's Deadpool. Haha! Deadpool is a superhero movie off of the X-Men universe, but it's very much unlike any X-Men movie ever. It is basically a parody of all the superhero movies out there. It is, it's certainly funny, very, very funny, childishly funny, and because so, it is more funny than any other superhero movie I can imagine. Even the opening credits and the end credits, they're not serious. Ryan Reynolds is actually amazing as Deadpool. Like, no one can replace Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. And actually, basically every other character are amazing, and none of them feel forced, none of them feel made up. All of them have their own funny bits. Also, another reason to love this movie is that it's 18+, meaning that it's gonna be very filthy, very adult. There are a lot of adult jokes. It's very violent, it's very bloody, and it's bloody enjoyable. And then at number 3, actually my favorite superhero movie of 2016, it is another MCU movie. It's Captain America Civil War. This is legitimately one of the best MCU movies, period. It is not really Captain America movie. It's more like the Avengers movie without Hulk and Thor. And it's Civil War, so they basically split into 2 and they collide. And it's really one of the most entertaining things I've seen in the MCU. And also, it's the year 2016. It's the late 2010s. People are getting kind of fed up with all these superhero movies about how the hero wins at the end. So they need to come up with something new every time. So that's why now they're coming up with these spoof parody superhero movies. These superhero movies where characters hate each other, like Batman versus Superman. And then we have this, which is an amazing movie. It's incredibly entertaining. It hooks you in immediately right from the get-go. It is actually a very political movie in a way, and it's incredibly intense. Also, Black Panther shows up in this movie for the first time. Also, Spider-Man. I'm talking about the MCU. Also, the MCU Tom Holland Spider-Man also makes a first appearance in this movie. It is a big movie with all these action sequences that are so punchy, that are so impactful, that are so full of weight. Like, every time someone gets punched or something gets broken, you can actually feel the weight and the impact. It's really well directed. And it's also not the kind of movie where they just give you fan service and it's all braggadocious, hey, we have superpowers kind of movie. Like, it's gritty. It's kinda sad and tragic at the end, actually. But then we also have the airport fight scene, which is one of the best action sequences in the MCU, period. But then, of course, we have the ending, which is absolutely heartbreaking. And overall, it's just an amazing roller coaster ride of a movie with a pretty heartbreaking plot twist. Anyway, we have number 2 and number 1 again. And again, I love both of them very much. And at the second spot, I'm gonna give it to Damien Chazelle, La La Land. Yes, I know it's kind of cliche to put this movie this high, but I legitimately enjoyed this movie. It is a very uplifting, colorful, bright, dreamy, vivid, fun, musical movie from Damien Chazelle. A follow-up to the incredibly intense, dark, and violent Whiplash. Basically a 180-degree turn. This thing is way more colorful, and damn, first off, the production, it's amazing. The cinematography is amazing. The lighting, the colors, they are so full of life. And then we have the music. This is a musical movie. There's a lot of dancing and singing, and all of the songs are actually original. They're actually really catchy. They're popular for a reason. They're good. They're amazing. Ryan Gosling starring in another good movie. Ryan Gosling just doesn't stop starring in good movies. We have Ryan Gosling here and Emma Stone. Amazing chemistry, great acting. And there are a lot of sequences here with great editing and great sound effects and mixing. Especially that dance sequence towards the end. It just always sticks in my mind. But also, the plot of the movie, it's about Hollywood. It's about trying to find purpose in Hollywood. And it's actually kind of relatable because I'm also going to be going to USA, kind of pursuing a similar route. And then we have the ending, which is a little polarizing, but I find the ending really sweet and beautiful and kind of bittersweet, actually, because it's realistic and it makes people sad, because it is kind of a sad ending, but you never really see tears or anything. At the end, both Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling are pretty much smiling, and overall, I think it's an incredibly beautiful movie. And there is one other movie that beat this movie in the Oscars, and it's at my number 1 spot. It's Moonlight. It is friggin' Moonlight. And the reason why I love this movie isn't because it represents, you know, African Americans and homosexuals, even though it's cool that they would include more of that. It's a cool thing, it's a +1, but it is not a major reason why I love this movie. The major reason why I love this movie is because this is an incredibly beautiful and powerful character study of a man. How he was bullied when he was a kid, when he doesn't know who he really is, doesn't know where to go in his life. How when he was in his teens, he was being pressured by his friends, how he was also being bullied, and how he turned out, who he became as a man. And in these 3 acts, each act has a different vibe, and we really see him grow up throughout all these acts. Yeah, I feel like in my movie review for the movie, which is released 2 years ago, I didn't talk about the plot and the message of this movie enough, because after watching this movie, after a while, every time I think about this movie again, it really leaves a very strong impression on me about how a person becomes, how a person develops, how a person ends up like this because of these things in the past, how a person finds his own identity, his or her own identity. And I don't know, there's just something really humane and something really moving about that, something that nobody really appreciates, but in this movie you can really appreciate it. Again, similar to La La Land, actually, the ending is kind of bittersweet, but it's not like there's a conclusion at the end, but it's like, here you go, this is what happened, at the very end, and it's very beautiful. And that last shot where we suddenly see him as a kid again standing in the ocean under the moonlight, it's just a really beautiful imagery. Mahershala Ali's performance is amazing. He's in Act 1 out of 3. Even though he's only in 1/3 of the movie, he still plays a really important role in Chiron, the main character's development. And the whole thing overall is just very thought-provoking, very beautiful. And the production of this movie, the original score, it's actually really amazing. I don't know why nobody's talking about the original score for Moonlight, but it's not something that I expected. It's actually very classical, very orchestral, a lot of strings, and usually they're very tense, and they're really beautiful, actually. And the production of the thing, the lighting, the cinematography, they're all really, really beautiful, and they give off this really depressing vibe that just resonates life as this person, and, you know, the life of Chiron. And yeah, I just can't praise this movie enough. This is one of my favorite movies of the decade as well. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. So, what are your favorite movies of 2016? Like if you like it, hate if you hate it, and subscribe if you want more, and thanks for watching!